I can't say it, but I can't say talk about so now I can't stop to never find no speak to all the thing. Tell me.
And we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome again. My name is Mark. We are here this evening just to hang out, bullshit. I'm going to read a few things to you guys and see if you like it. I got some new stuff that I haven't published and some stuff that I have. So I figure we just read through it, tell some stories, and see where it goes from there. Just want to say, starting off, before I tell you these stories, I need you to understand something. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not going to sell you healing and the 5 steps and forgiveness in a fucking journal at the end of this thing. I've been stabbed in the back, literally. I've detoxed in jail cells where the lights never turned off. I've held people while they shattered, knowing I was the reason they broke. I've watched love rot. I've seen the look in someone's eyes when they're still alive, but they're already gone. And I've done things I'm still forgiving myself for. I'm not ashamed of where I've been because rock bottom isn't a place, it's a person. And for a while, I wasn't. So if you're here for polished redemption, you're in the wrong room. But if you're here for the truth, the ugly, bleeding kind of truth that still twitches when you touch it, and pull up a chair because I've got plenty of stories. And I promise you, some of them may save your life. All right. So we'll go right into echoes in the void. You think you're invisible, a shadow fading into nothingness, a hollow vessel, cracked and empty, lost beneath layers of silence, where the world moves on and no one notices the weight you carry. The quiet wars fought behind locked doors, the bleeding that no one hears. I've been there, in that room where the light never touches, where the air is thick with memories too heavy to hold, and every breath feels like dragging a stone uphill, where the echoes of past mistakes bounce off cracked walls and the ghosts of what could have been whisper your name. The air tastes like dust and old regrets, thick and choking. The floorboards creak beneath my feet, cold, splintered wood soaked in sweat and silence. The walls close in with memories, the sharp sting of betrayal, the bitter taste of loss, the heavy crush of loneliness no light can touch. It smells like stale smoke and broken promises. Sounds like a heart beating too loud in a room too quiet. A breath caught between hope and despair. I see the cold steel of the jail cell. It's scratching my name carved into a wall that never felt like home. I hear the muffled shouts and footsteps in corridors where time stands still. I feel the sting of nights spent on a cracked mattress, staring at a peeling ceiling, wishing for peace I didn't know how to ask for. I remember the cold biting into my skin through a cracked window, the flicker of a lone bulb buzzing overhead, the sound of distant fights, the clank of steel doors locking down, the feeling of being small, trapped, and too tired to fight anymore. The loneliness so thick it wraps around you like a shroud, whispering that maybe this is all there is. If I can't be my own, I'd feel better dead. Those words are like a knife twisted in my chest because I've been there, trapped inside a shell of a man who didn't recognize himself, a ghost wearing my face, hollow to the bone. broken beyond repair. There were nights when the darkness wasn't outside, but inside, a suffocating weight squeezing every spark of life until there was nothing left but the echo of silent screams. I've walked that shadowed room, a prisoner of my own pain. Love came and went like a war I fought but never won. I held on too tight and let go too soon. I broke things I never meant to break. I pushed away those who stayed, not because I wanted to, but because fear told me it was safer. But somehow I'm still here, still standing on splintered wood, still breathing that heavy air, still carrying these hollow bones. Pain shaped me, but it won't define me because survival isn't just about getting through the night. It's about waking up the next day and choosing to fight again, not with fist or fury, but with grit and grace. It's about standing in the wreckage of your life and building something new, something real, something worth holding on to. I'm not healed. Maybe I never will be, but I'm learning to carry the scars without letting them weigh me down. I'm learning to be the man who fights with his heart and not with his hands. A man who walks through darkness, eyes open, searching for the light and finding it in the small moments, the quiet victories, the love that refuses to quit. So if you're hearing this and carrying your own dark room inside you, then know this. You are not alone. You're stronger than you think. And every day you choose to keep going, to show up, to speak up, to love despite the pain, you're breaking the cycle. You're not hollow. You're bone deep strength, carved by fire and forged in the hardest fight. And you can rise. That's the end of that. I wanted to read this one next. So, happened yesterday. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. When I read, we fed people like that would save them. Louisiana hospitality ain't pretty, but it's real. Me and Caden sat in a dead Waffle House tonight. It's the kind of empty where the jukebox is quiet and the AC hum feels like it's trying to fill the silence. The cook was behind the counter, yelling on the phone. Not loud like a show, but loud like something inside him had cracked and kept spilling out. And he didn't care who heard. Didn't care that we were sitting there. Didn't fake a smile. Didn't put on a face. And honestly, I respected it. Life doesn't pause just because you got an apron on. Sometimes you hold it together. Sometimes you don't. And tonight, that man didn't. Our server still showed up. She had that look like she was running on caffeine, prayers, and pure spite. But she was kind. She did her job. And when the check came, I left a tip for her and for him. Not to feel good, not to look good, but because maybe, just maybe, he needed that in that moment. Maybe it was the only quiet kindness he'd seen that night. And that's what we do down here. People think Southern hospitality is all doilies and sweet tea, porch swings and ma'ams. But Louisiana hospitality, that's different. We feed people like that would save them. We make too much on purpose. We open the door without asking questions. We make space for mess. I grew up around women who cooked through heartbreak, who wiped their eyes with dish towels and stirred pots for men who didn't deserve it. I saw addicts handed coffee and forgiveness in the same breath. Saw folks get cursed out and still get sent home with a to-go plate. That's real hospitality. It ain't about niceness. It's about grace when it's inconvenient. You might be half wrecked, hungover, homeless, fresh out of jail, but if you show up at dinner time, somebody's gonna feed you. Because down here, food is survival. And a hot plate says what words can't. You still matter. And I know it's not much. I know a $20 tip don't fix a damn thing, especially when you only got 40. But sometimes you just need to know someone saw you in the middle of your worst and didn't look away. And maybe you're hearing this thinking, so what kind of person are you? Would you have left the tip? Or would you have asked to speak to the manager? Because I've learned something the hard way. A man already drowning doesn't need another hand pushing him under. Sometimes what he needs is someone to hand him a towel and look him in the eye like he's still worth saving. So, what kind of person are you? What would you have done? I kind of want to read The Days I Wanted to Disappear. Uh, There's anything you guys, hey, Carrie, anything you guys want me to read in particular, please put it in the comments. Let me know. I think I'm up to about 80 things now. So I'm just trying to read the most impactful things to me. So, yeah. But please feel free. Let me know what I'm going to roll with. The days I wanted to disappear right now. There were days I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to be here anymore. Didn't want to open my eyes. Didn't want to carry the weight of pretending that I was okay. Didn't want to hear another person say it gets better with that empty tone that told me they'd never been where I was. I wasn't suicidal, not in the way people think. I didn't have a plan, I had a void, and it lived in my chest. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was quiet. So quiet that nobody noticed I was unraveling. I still worked, still laughed sometimes, still answered, I'm good, just tired. And that wasn't a lie. I was tired. So fucking tired of existing. People talk about depression like it's something you feel, but sometimes it's what you don't feel. No hunger, no joy, no fear, just a numb ache of dragging yourself through another day that doesn't feel like it belongs to you. I used to stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m. and beg God to turn me off. Not kill me, just unplug me. Let me sleep without dreaming. Let me wake without that crushing thud in my chest that whispered, still here. I didn't want help. I wanted someone to see me and not flinch, to sit with me in the dark without trying to fix it, to stop offering light and just say, yeah, it's pitch black and I'm not leaving. If that's where you are right now, I'm not here to save you, but I am here to say this. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not too much. You're just tired. And tired people don't need pep talks. They need permission to rest, to feel, to fall apart without being left behind. You don't have to be productive or positive or even hopeful. Just be here to stay because there's a version of you that hasn't laughed yet, hasn't fallen in love yet, hasn't met the friend who'll sit beside you and say, me too. You matter, even now, even like this, even when you don't believe it, especially then. And no, it ends with, right. Saying if you found this piece found you in the dark, drop a comment and says, I'm still here.
And seen.
But I just didn't read that part out. All right. How about throw it a little funnier one, I guess. Lighten the mood up a little bit before we get dark again. Redneck ingenuity. Tales from the broke side of genius. There's a certain kind of genius that doesn't come from a classroom. It's born in sweat and duct tape in the desperate, beautiful moment where the world tells you you can't and you whisper back, watch me. I've lived most of my life in that space. Not rich enough to fix things the right way, but too damn stubborn to leave them broken. So I fixed them my way. Let me tell you about the time I put a window unit air conditioner in the back of my 1992 Toyota Corolla. True story. The AC had been dead since Clinton was in office, and inside of that car could melt crayons in 5 minutes flat. But I still had to drive around, still had errands, still had girls to impress. God help me. Even though I didn't fit in that fucking thing, like I literally my head was cocked to the side because I was too tall to be in the fucking thing, but sweating to death. So I went to the pawn shop and traded a weed eater and a Bluetooth speaker for a secondhand window unit, a little 5,000 BTU, um, white. Well, it used to be white, but it was dingy white. Now, out at home in the trunk that barely closed and went to work. I shoved that bitch through the back window like I was building a mobile meth lab, propped it up with wood scraps, ratchet straps to the seats, and sealed it with Walmart bags and old socks. But here's the kicker. I powered it with two deep cycle marine batteries I stole from my uncle's bass boat. Wired it up like Frankenstein's monster. And it works. It made noise, it blew cold air, and it made strangers look at me like I was either a misunderstood genius or one bad day away from mailing in a manifesto. I sit in that car shirtless, sipping at a gas station, big gulp, window unit humming like a jet engine. Behind me, I was broke. I was ridiculous, but I was comfortable and I was proud as shit. And I rode that thing all the way to the ground. Literally, the wheels fell off of that thing and wound up s- uh, sliding off into the side of the road. And I had to leave it there and had somebody come pick me up. And that night, I got a call from a police sergeant or something, and he was asking me about the car, and he was like reading the license plate. He was like, "Is this your vehicle?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Sir, I'm sorry to inform you, we found your vehicle. It's been brutally vandalized and basically beat to shit." I was like, "No, sir. I left it that way. It blew up, and I have it towed off tomorrow." But that was a beast, man. That car got me around for a hot minute. But that's not even the best one. Let's rewind the time to the time I stole satellite TV using nothing but a homemade rig and a camcorder and a buddy with strong legs and no sense of danger. I had this old satellite dish, one of those big metal dinosaurs that looked like it was designed to contact aliens. Couldn't afford the service, of course, but I could afford to get creative. So I set up the dish just right, ran about 50 feet of coax through the living room window, connected it to the gutted receiver, and plugged it into the VCR. The VCR fed into a tiny tube TV I salvaged from a flood house. The image came in snowy, jittery, and in black and white, but it was all channels was unlocked. And at that time, that was big shit because it was everything, like all the pay per view and everything was unlocked. And the catch was the dish wouldn't stay aligned unless someone stood on a roof and held it just so. No matter how we put this thing on a mount, by the time we got back down, it wouldn't be right. And it only worked if somebody was up there holding that shit and just pointing it in the right part of the sky. So I called my cousin Travis, who had a heart of gold and half a GED, and I told him I needed a favor. Next thing I know, I'm yelling through the window, a little bit left. Left, Travis. No. Damn it. Go back. Just a hair. He's on the roof in the Louisiana sun holding that disc like the Statue of Liberty while I hit record on the VCR to tape an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. Then he'd climb down, drenched in sweat and covered in roofing tar, and we watch it together like we just ride Fort Knox. And we had, in a way, because being broke doesn't mean you don't have ideas. It just means your ideas are louder, funnier, and way more illegal. We weren't dumb, we were resourceful. Redneck MacGyvers, the broke boy Elon Musk of that trailer park universe. If it needed fixing, we fixed it. If we couldn't fix it, we repurposed it. If we couldn't repurpose it, we stole a satellite signal and recorded Walker for later. That's the spirit I came from. Not glamorous, not polished, but real as hell. And honestly, I wouldn't trade those days for anything. Because now, when life throws me something hard, when the system breaks down, when it gets too hot, when I'm stuck and can't see a way out, I remember the windy unit. I remember Travis on the reef. I remember that desperate brilliance that kept us alive, cool, and entertained. It might have looked crazy from the outside, but to us, it was genius. And, give me about 15, 20-second break. I'll be right back here with you.
Like the quick little bit something
All right,
about it began.
back here with you.
Well, I'm so earlier, so I wrote it all down. Put it here.
Wait, what?
I wrote something down earlier, but I saw someone.
Wrote something down earlier. What the hell is that?
You don't have to read it out.
Well, shit, it's dark. That's a whole last page. I don't think I could read it.
Um,
You'd have to read it in there.
do that, do that.
Sorry, my apologies.
I mean,
How
it's
loud
not
that could be.
mine. It's something I saw somewhere, and it hit me. So I felt like I needed to write it down. It's maybe use it somehow or another.
Okay. Well, I'll read it.
Because when I was younger,
All right, guys. Let's see.
and I think I could do when I was so I could figure out how to put whatever it is I'm going to do together.
All right.
Yeah.
How car surfing on the interstate taught me to stay calm in chaos. Yes, car surfing.
Hey, I got a funny one.
Sometimes survival starts with one really stupid decision. When I was 14, maybe 15, still dumb enough to think I was invincible and too proud to admit I was scared, we used to do this thing called car surfing. Now, let me paint the scene. This was the deep suburbia Louisiana. No helmets, no rules. Just a bunch of half-grown boys with too much Mountain Dew in our systems and no business being unsupervised. My buddy's mom drove this beast of a vehicle, one of those tank-sized 90s Suburbans, burgundy paint, sagging cloth ceiling, smelled like wet dog and Chick-fil-A. The thing had running boards down the side and a roof rack you could grab like monkey bars on the top of it, like a redneck amusement park. We wait till she was dropping us off or ran a quick errand. And the second she turned that ignition, boom, we'd scale the sides like Navy SEALs, lashed onto the roof, and scream like idiots. We weren't trying to be cool. Okay, no, yeah, we were definitely trying to be cool, but we also wanted to feel alive. And there's something about hanging on to a moving vehicle with nothing between you and the pavement but bad judgment that makes your heart beat like a war drum. For a while, we kept it safe. Neighborhood loops, 25 miles an hour, a few stop signs, maybe a squirrel darting out just to remind us who's boss. But then that day happened. We just finished slamming Little Debbie's and Code Red, and my friend decided to take it up a notch. Didn't say anything, just gave me that devilish grin like, watch this shit. I was already on the reef, crouched like a feral cat, gripping the rack with my adolescent death grip, shirt flapping, wind teasing my balance. And then we took a right, not the usual loop back towards home. We were heading to the main road. I shouted, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he just laughed and said, we going for a ride, motherfucker, let's go. I really thought he was fucking with me. And then the next thing I know, we were merging onto the interstate, the actual fucking interstate, I 10. So now that's the part where most people panic. And I probably should have, but I didn't. Something in me flipped, like my soul hit a switch. I didn't scream, didn't bang on the windshield, didn't try to climb down. I just locked in. I looked up, I found the sturdiest piece of metal I could grab, planted my feet like I was born there, and I rode that shit out, calm and focused. Like my body knew this was serious, and my spirit whispered, hold on, boy, you've been through worse. Now, that moment didn't make me a badass, it made me lucky, but it also taught me something I didn't have words for back then. Panic is a luxury, survival is a skill. You can't lose your mind when shit hits the fan. You can't freeze when the world speeds up. You find your footing, you grip what's solid, and you ride it through the madness. That's the lesson I've learned more times than I can count. When the cops kicked in my door, when I was locked in a cell, and the person I once loved was unraveling in front of me and I couldn't stop it. Even now, when shame creeps in during the quiet moments, trying to shove me off balance, I go right back to that roof. I grip tighter. I plant my feet. I ride it out. I never went car surfing again after that. We pulled off at the gas station. I climbed down like I hadn't just kissed death at 70 miles per hour. Didn't say a word, just laughed it off like teenage boys do when they don't know how to say, holy shit, I could have died. But I knew something in me had shifted. It's that moment, stupid as it was, changed me. It showed me I had the ability to stay calm in absolute chaos. And now, looking back, I see it for what it really was, a metaphor. The first of many wild rides where I wasn't in control, where chaos took the wheel, and I had to decide between screaming or surviving. And I'm still here. So you already know which one I picked. Some of us didn't learn calm in therapy. We learned it on rooftops, on prison bunks, in the back of cop cars, in rooms where nobody was coming to save us, in moments where we could have broken but didn't. We learned to hold on when everything was spinning, to breathe when there was no oxygen, to plant our feet in the storm and ride it out. If you've ever felt like your life was flying down the interstate with no brakes, if you've ever had to hold on for dear life and figure it the fuck out mid flight, then you already know what I'm talking about. You learn calm that way. And once you do, no one can take that from you. So tell me, where did you learn how to survive? Comment and let me know. Because not all wisdom comes from books. Some of it comes from rooftops and close calls and that quiet voice that says, hold on, boy, you're going to make it. Huh? How come? Lisa, I don't know what kind of shit you be talking, but you be coming up with the craziest shit for real, real shit.
Okay.
That's my
I want to know what part you're skipping.
that's my femboy. How you said it?
You're skipping.
Huh?
I want to know what chapter you're skipping.
What chapter? What you mean what chapter I'm skipping?
This.
I'm just reading shit out of.
I know what you're reading, but I'm reading a part of the book.
No, I ain't calling you no liar. What you mean?
So yeah, this part, it's the chapter they skip. But it was it was the muscle you need for what's next. What does that mean?
I don't know which one you talking about. Which one you? I don't know. What's the title?
It's fun. I was trying to show you without talking a second ago, and then I'm like, you really. But
Yeah, I'll work on that one. I'll get to that one. Right now,
yeah,
I'm gonna do. Huh?
I thought you did.
I may have
I was
down in a hole and still digging. Mm. I don't write these things because I have it all figured out. I write them because I haven't. Because I still flinch when the wind shifts. Because some nights I stare at the ceiling and wonder if I've already ruined the one thing that was ever real. I survived things that should have finished me. Concrete beds and steel doors, the stink of betrayal in every breath. Loss that doesn't announce itself, just shows up one day and never leaves. I've buried people with my silence, killed hope with my distance. And when I look back, it's not the mistakes that haunt me, it's the patterns. The way I kept choosing the wrong road, even after I knew where it ended. But I didn't come from chaos. I was raised by my grandparents in a house that felt like Sunday mornings and hard earned peace. My grandmother taught me manners, how to shake a man's hand, how to look a person in the eye and mean what you say. She taught me never to put my hands on a woman, never. Not in anger, not in control, not ever. And I kept that. Through all the blood and fire, I've never crossed that line, never, not one time. Every fight I've ever been in started with someone else through the first punch. Even when I could have justified it, I didn't. That's just not who I am. That's not who she raised. But that doesn't mean I didn't do damage. I just learned how to hurt people without ever laying a hand on them. I weaponized silence. I disappeared mid sentence. I twisted love into a test that could never pass. I punished people for trying to love me before I ever gave them a chance. And now there's Heather. She's not just a chapter, she's the reason I started writing again. She's the part of me I thought I'd bury under concrete and shame. She's calming my storm, but not because she doesn't have a wrong. It's because she walks through mine anyways. She stood by me when I had nothing but bruises and regrets. She didn't flinch. When she saw the scars, she looked me dead in the eye and stayed. It's a kind of strength in her that I cannot name, only feel. And God, do I ever feel it? But with every beautiful moment, there's this shadow whispering, you're gonna fuck this up too. I hate how familiar that voice is, how believable. I find myself pulling back right when I should be leaning in, going quiet when she needs my voice, acting like I'm okay when I'm coming apart. Not because I don't care, but because I do. Because when you've ruined love before, you start trusting yourself to hold it right. You start thinking maybe the most merciful thing you could do is let her go now before you become the storm again. But she's still here. And every day I wake up and try not to let the old version of me take the wheel. I try to choose her, not just in word, but in presence, in patience, in the way I hold her without fear. This isn't a redemption story. This is a war journal, a record of a man trying not to become the worst of his past, a man who has a chance, maybe his last, to do love right, and he's terrified. If you've ever stood in front of something pure and felt like a loaded gun pointed at it, I see you. If you've ever looked into the eyes of someone like Heather and felt unworthy, I know that weight. If you're still showing up anyway, still trying, still clawing for something better, then maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just healing. One day at a time, one breath at a time, one I love you at a time. That doesn't come with an apology. This is me. This is us. And I'm not digging anymore.
Yeah, I see you.
Uh,
You sound ready.
uh, there's probably several of them you haven't heard. I've been writing like a maniac, so. Uh,
More than this, that.
let's see. Hold on. Um, how about the quiet kind of brave? The quiet kind of brave. They'll never know what it took. Not the strangers scrolling, not the people who love you, not even the ones who say they see you, because this kind of courage doesn't scream. It doesn't wear medals. It doesn't trend. It doesn't post a look at me or a hashtag victory. It sits there in the dark with you when you're sweating through your shirt and your throat feels like it's closing and your hands are shaking for no reason you can explain. That's what tonight was. Not a show, not a moment of confidence, not some polished, practiced, I got this. It was war. Me versus every voice in my head has ever told me to sit down. Me versus that tightness in my chest that always shows up when it's time to be seen. Me versus that deep, hollow ache that says, you're going to see through you. They're going to see through you. You think courage is loud? No. Real courage is a whisper in a locked bathroom. Real courage is crawling towards the light with broken fingers. Real courage is looking at a blinking cursor or a live button or a door or hearing everything in your body say don't and doing it anyways. You think I went live tonight because I'm confident? I'm fucking terrified. Not of the tech, not of the lighting, but of the truth.
It's true.
Because the minute I open my mouth, I'm not just telling stories. I'm giving you pieces of a man I spent years trying to rebuild. I wrote this after the last time I went live.
We really been on church for Bunny even tonight.
I'm handing over splinters, letting you feel the weight of things I didn't talk about in public, letting you get close to the part of me that still flinches when I hear a cell door slam, even on a movie. You don't just go live with that. You bleed. And tonight again, I bleed. I bleed every time I retell these stories, but I do that in hopes that it reaches somebody out there. But here's the thing. I've spent years walking through places no one gets out of whole. Courtrooms, jail cells, marriages falling apart in rooms full of silent tension, houses with holes in the walls and people screaming things they can't say, hospitals that smell like bleach and goodbyes. I've lost people. I've buried versions of myself. I've watched the lights go out in people I loved. And I've stood there frozen, thinking maybe it was my fault. And still, I speak. Still, I show up. Still, I tell the truth. Even when my voice cracks, even when my chest is tight, even when my past is sitting behind me like a ghost in the corner of the room. Because somewhere out there, I know there's a person like me sitting in a car outside their apartment, afraid to go in, hiding in the bathroom so the kids don't see them fall apart, scrolling at 3 a.m. with tears in their eyes, and nobody left the call. And maybe if I tell my truth, they'll believe theirs matters too. And maybe if I walk through the fire, they'll know they can too. And maybe if I press go live while shaking, they'll feel a little bit less alone. That's what courage is. It's not pretty. It's not clean. It's not cinematic. It's bloody knuckled. It's breathless. It's standing on a cliff of self doubt and deciding to leap anyways. So, yeah, tonight I was brave. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I was, and I still showed up. So, if you're there right now, stuck between wanting to speak and wanting to disappear, if your throat's tight and your hands won't stop trembling, if the pain is loud and the world is quiet, you are not weak. You're just at the edge of something real. And when you're ready, jump. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Really. Absolutely. Thank you for just hanging out with me. Uh, just keep on reading. As long as I got people in there with me, I'm going to just keep on reading. So, nice shit. Thank you, love. Let's see. Still a little more intense, I guess, maybe. I carried my demons until I learned their names and faced them anyways. Fear ain't some little anxious flutter in your stomach. It ain't nervous energy. It ain't a maybe. It's a presence, a damn shadow with breath hot on your neck. And if you're anything like me, it didn't sneak in. It grew up with you. It put its feet on your coffee table, called your mama by her first name, and made itself at home in the rooms you were never supposed to live in. I used to call it bad luck, wrong place, wrong time, but that wasn't it. It was me dragging these heavy, grinning fucking monsters behind me like I owed them something. And maybe I did, because I never fought them. I fed them. The first one, failure, he was the loudest. Sat shotgun in every opportunity I had and talked me out of all of them. He'd say things like, "You're not ready. You'll fuck this up. Don't even try." And I believed him. I called it humility. But really, it was fear disguised in a friendly voice. Next came guilt. Guilt didn't yell, he haunted. He showed up around midnight, just when I was about to fall asleep. Replayed old scenes on loop. My mom's face that day she left. The look in my daughter's eyes when I couldn't show up. The people I hurt trying to survive. Guilt was a documentarian. He made sure I never forgot whatever I did wrong and never forgave myself for it either. No, I have not. But I'm gonna definitely look that up though. First thing. Well, then there was abandonment. She was dressed in armor. She taught me how to detach, how to ghost, how to laugh things off before they could dig too deep. She whispered, "Don't need anybody. Don't trust them. Don't love too loud. They'll just leave." And you know what? Most of them did because I never let them stay. I left first. Shame, though. Shame didn't need to speak. He just looked up at me, held up a mirror, not to what I did, but to who I thought I was underneath it all. Rotten, unworthy, a mistake wrapped in skin. And together they rode me, not like riders with reins, more like leashes, parasites. They clung to my spine, to the back of my neck, to the bottom of my shoes, so I'd feel them with every step. People around me, they saw a strong man, resourceful, resilient. They had no idea I was dragging four demons uphill in boots that I stole. But one day, and I'll never forget this, I woke up and couldn't breathe, not because of the rain or the air or the panic attack, but because of them. All of them sitting right on my chest. And it hit me. This isn't life. This is dying slowly while pretending it's surviving. So I stood up, didn't have a plan, didn't have a therapist yet, didn't have a community or God. I just knew I had to move. And when I did, they screamed. Every damn one of them. Failure said, "You'll crash again. You're going to fuck this up." And I said, "Then I'll crawl out until I don't." Guilt said, "You're going to hurt people." I said, "I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." Abandonment said, "Nobody's going to be there to save you." I said, "I don't need saving. I just need the truth." Shane said, "You are not enough." And I whispered back, "Watch me, bitch." I didn't slay them. I outlived them. I made peace with the fact that they'll always be behind me, but never own me again. And if they try, I'll carry them differently. Not like burdens, but like tattoos, reminders of where I've been, not where I'm headed. Yeah, I'm definitely looked at that. Son, I carried my demons. I'm trying to kind of pick out some of my lesser seen ones, I guess. Maybe ones of people that haven't heard most of yet. The silence doesn't just echo, it accuses. You ever sit so still, the silence doesn't just echo, it accuses? It looks at you, dares you, says, "Now that there's no noise, who are you really?" I remember the first night in the dungeon dome, D dome. 100 men, four white faces, one of them me. My bunk was in the blind spot. where you don't sleep too deep. In the silence there wasn't peaceful. It stalks. It carried every regret I thought I buried and laid them at my feet. And you can't run in there. Not from them. Not from you. I used to think healing came in big, beautiful moments. A revelation, a second chance, some movie script breakthroughs, but it doesn't. It comes in the quiet when you finally stop talking, stop performing, stop blaming, when you sit in the middle of the wreckage and say, "This was me, and this is me now." The silence screams back when you're finally ready to listen. And some people will break, but some people use those screams as blueprints. Mm,
Mm. You had 35 minutes?
oh no, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read seven more. Cause I ain't like, all right, it's all in my Substack. The rewritten path.substack.com/. Check out my Substack.
I just, go read every single one of them.
well, all you got to do is go to the rewritten path.substack.com/. Tell your friends and your mama and and your auntie and your uncle and your in-laws and the people you fucking hate. Tell everybody.
I'll get it. I tried.
All right. I'm gonna go with if you're an asshole, that's all you'll ever know. I pump myself up for this one. You walk around pissed off, entitled, and judgmental, and then wonder why life feels like a shit show. That ain't bad luck. That's you. The world gives back exactly what you put into it. So if everyone around you sucks, if nobody shows up for you, if every situation feels like a fight, maybe you're the common denominator. Maybe it's time to shut the fuck up and take a long, hard look in the mirror. You ever notice how some people always have the same bullshit story while they can't ever catch a break? It's always something. It's always somebody. It's never fucking fair. Victimhood becomes a goddamn personality trait. They keep waiting for the universe to come save them, but don't ever lift a fucking finger to save themselves. That mindset attracts exactly what it feeds on: more chaos, more pain, and more disappointment. The truth is, you don't need no fucking miracle and you don't need a fucking savior. You need to level the fuck up. Not tomorrow, now. Because this world, the one that we living in right fucking here, is already hard enough. And if you're making it worse for other people just because you're miserable, congratulations, you're part of the problem. You want things to get better? Start acting better. Be kind when it's inconvenient. Be respectful when nobody's watching. Be the type of person you wish would walk into your life. You don't have to change the whole goddamn world, but you could be the reason somebody's day doesn't suck. Hold the door open. Tip a little extra. Tell the tired ass cashier you appreciate him. Say thank you like you fucking mean it. You never know what someone's going through. That smile you spark might be the first one they've had all day. This ain't about being fake, it's about being human. It's about remembering that we're all walking around with invisible bruises. And most people are doing the best they can fucking do with what little they got. So quit being a dick. Quit thinking you're owed something. Quit treating people like shit just because you're drowning in your own. Do your part. Be decent, and maybe, just maybe, the world will start to feel a little less cold. You walk around pissed off. Like, I'm sorry. That was the end of that one. But I meant to go back and edit that because, for whatever reason, doubled up on one. That's my summarized message to the world. Just be nice, man. Quit being a fucking asshole. Like, quit being.
You should be nice.
Don't be a fucking asshole. That's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run for president, and that's gonna be my slogan. Don't be a fucking asshole, man.
Okay,
Like,
so it's not gonna be "Make America Great." It's gonna be
no, absolutely
"Don't
not.
be an asshole." in
Don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick.
America don't do assholes.
Vote for Mark.
America don't do assholes.
It's kind of rude, man. Your phone's ringing in my live, dude.
That's your daughter. I can't help it.
You calling me in my live, bruh. That's kind of fucked up, dude.
Of course not do that.
All right.
Okay, I'll come bring you some. Okay.
The ones who didn't make it. Their faces don't fade. They don't soften. They're carved into me like fresh wounds, raw and bleeding every damn day. Temp, my brother in every way that it mattered, gone because I said tomorrow. That word wasn't just a promise, it was a lie. Tomorrow swallowed him whole, and I was left clutching nothing but the silence he left behind. A silence that punches me in the gut with every breath I take. Chris, my childhood shadow, one of my best friends, overdose, 2015. His death tore a crater through my soul. A blast so violent it shook everything I thought I knew about survival. Some fights don't have winners. Some battles break you down until you're just a ghost stumbling through wreckage. And I still remember Chris's funeral. I remember that being the first time I'd ever seen a dead body. Because every funeral I'd been to before that had been a closed casket. And I remember like walking up and seeing him, and it was just so fucking weird. I'll never forget that shit. Rest in peace, man. David, I know I didn't put the little emphasis on that, but David was his name. The truest, the fiercest. He chose to hang himself in 2007. His goodbyes screamed louder than any words he left unsaid. I still see the weight of that moment crushing him, dragging him down to a darkness I wanted to follow but couldn't. And Janelle, watching her slip away right in front of me, her eyes wide with terror and confusion, begging for help I couldn't give. I stood frozen, caught between love and fear, powerless as she drowned in her own mind. That's the kind of guilt that buries you alive. It's no fleeting shadow or passing regret. It's a living, breathing monster that crawls beneath your skin, sinks into your bones, and sits on your chest until your lungs scream for air. It whispers, "You weren't enough. You should have done more." And sometimes it doesn't whisper, it shouts, tearing apart what little piece you clawed back. But the question never goes away. Why me? Why did I survive the fire that consumed all of them? Why was my story spared the final page? Why do I wake up breathing while they're silent forever? There's no answer, only the weight, a crushing mountain of grief piled higher every fucking day, threatening to bury me under its relentless weight. The pain tied me with fear never could. Survival isn't strength, it's sheer, brutal endurance. Dragging yourself through hell when every step threatens to shatter you completely. Carrying the names of the lost like heavy bricks chained to your ankles, being broken in ways so deep they rip apart your soul, and still moving forward. I learned to watch the people I love die and not let my own life slip away with them. Not to carry 1,000 ghosts, to stand still, bloody and raw, but unbroken, to turn grief and rage into the only fuel I have left, an unquenchable fire burning beneath the skin. If I'm still breathing, it's no accident. It's a goddamn war, and I'm still fighting. Every scar, every lost friend, every whispered name is my battle cry. I carry them with me, on my back, under my skin, running through my blood. Their silence is a roar. Their absence is a wound that won't close. But I'm here, still here, and I won't waste a second of this life that they never got. R.I.P. All right. I know I did the night she stabbed me the last time, but you guys want me to do that one again? Might as well.
This thing is there. Seems to not stop in this. That's the more fun than used to when you're
Hmm?
the same example. Big of fast.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. All right. Damn, man. Come on, bro. Really? Son of a bitch. God. And I just read Don't Be an Asshole, too. What's the fucking first thing you do? Asshole. The night she stabbed me. Started about a week before the night. Janelle been on an Adderall binge. 2, maybe 3 days without sleep. I've seen this before, that wild look in her eyes, like someone else had taken pain had taken over. She started getting paranoid, convinced I had a second phone hidden in my truck, a secret she said I was hiding from her. She swore it was there, and nothing I said could convince her otherwise. I watched her tear through my truck like a woman possessed, pulling out the glove box and ripping under the seats and popping the dashboard apart with her bare hands. I begged her to stop, pleaded with her, but she wasn't listening. The truck, my only lifeline at the time, was being destroyed, looking for something that was never even in. That was our life for a week before the stabbing. No sleep, no peace, just a downward spiral that swallowed the woman I loved whole. Then one afternoon, I don't even remember what started it, just another round of the same arguments. She snapped. Now, and this is, I wanted to correct this too, because somebody else had pointed this out to me earlier. I don't know where and the chat paragraph got mixed up. So we were fighting, it should be flip flop. We were fighting, ended up running through the kitchen into the laundry room and slammed the door and pressed my back against the door. And I'm begging her to stop, and she's beating on the door and screaming like a maniac. Her fist slammed the door again and again, each hit with a thunderous blow that rattled my bones. She was screaming, wild and broken. I could hear the ragged breath of someone drowning in their own madness. Then came the knife. It wasn't slow, it wasn't careful. It stabbed through the door like a biker's strike. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Each jab came inches from my ribs. The cold steel was so close, I could almost feel it slice through the wood into my flesh. My breath caught. My heart slammed so hard I thought it might burst. I froze. I was trapped between terror and disbelief, think, thinking this is how it would end. Then the blade got stuck. For a moment, a breath, a silence. I flung the door open with everything I had left. She stood there, eyes wide, shaking like a rattlesnake, ready to strike. Here is where that other paragraph got mixed up and should have been put on. I had a silver chain on, and we were just kind of standing there looking at each other at that moment. And she pulled the chain. She wanted, like, reached for me. She grabbed the chain, ripped the chain off, and she hit me with the chain right across the face. And I remember I had a fucking Figaro silver chain, certain type of design to it. And I had that design of the chain across my face. And when she hit me with the chain, and I'm like, motherfucker, holding my face, that's when she picked up another knife. I've been writing so much of this stuff and so fast, I haven't had a chance to go back and edit some of these mistakes there. But yeah, that's when, at that point, she grabbed another knife that was on the counter. So, and when the knife she was stabbing through the door was a big old butcher knife, and the knife that she grabbed now, the one that she actually stabbed me with, was a steak knife. But she sank the steak knife all the way in to the handle completely. All right, so now I'm gonna go back and re-edit that. My apologies. Uh, so we'll pick back up. So she hits me with the chain. I turned to run. That's when I felt it. Sharp, burning, searing, a blade buried deep in my lower back. I didn't stop. I couldn't. I just ran. I made it to the bedroom, slammed the door, and pushed my back against it. The blood was warm and sticky, soaking through my clothes and dripping onto the floor. I reached down and touched my side, and when my hand came back soaked red, I yelled through the door, voice raw and desperate. Janelle, you fucking stabbed me. I'm bleeding out. Her voice changed. A light switch flipped from rage to panic. She was screaming, running around the house, asking what to do, but never calling for help. I begged her to call an ambulance, to call anyone. She refused. Instead, she picked up the phone and started dialing some guy she met weeks before at a gas station trying to get away. So I lay there, rolling in my own blood, alone and terrified. The bleeding slowed. I cleaned myself up as best I could. The pain was slow. A dull burn spreading deep into my bones.
To understand each other, I've been each other. They,
I couldn't walk right for 2 weeks. I never went to the hospital, never called the police, never told a soul until now because I knew she wasn't herself. I was still trying to protect her. Later that night, I called her family. No one answered. I showered, got dressed.
look at them. We got to know just to say,
Oh, this isn't later that night. Man, I gotta get back and edit some of these. Okay, so that last part,
yes.
that last part actually picks up on the next story. I didn't break it. Well, at least I'm learning that I need to go back and do a lot of fucking editing. I've just been doing so much typing.
Well, you should always read it before you post it.
I do, but somehow I don't know. I figure it out. The message is getting across some kind of way, I guess. Yes, it was absolutely attempted murder, but I didn't call the people, so it is what it is. Which it's really going deeper into that story. At that moment, I couldn't anyways because I didn't have a cell phone. Because she had took all the cell phones and it broke all the electronics in the house and it flashed the tires on the truck. And it was literally just I was nothing else. I was done for. So
Yeah.
that why it's in my I almost died 6 times story because that was another one. I was saved to the last bit.
After the fact.
Actually, I had that went into another story.
Knife stabbed into the wall with shit sitting on. It was gross. It was horrible. I knew you had to go through it. You just get it. I'll never forget when I had to be actually from what the fuck can
How long have I even been on live?
it's old. You can go for just
Well, she was she had mental illness. She was diagnosed schizophrenic, borderline personality, bipolar, fucking depression, bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Fuck, I don't know, like a dozen different things that she had, but and it was the combination of that and the drugs, she would take it was uppers and she'd not sleep. So that especially with the mental illness, with the drugs, and now you throwing in no sleep on top of that. Her mind was already so fragile, it didn't take anything to push her over the edge. And that's exactly what happened. Mhm.
it's still a victim.
How long have I even been on live for? 11:30. I don't know. You guys want some more? I'm here for you. Looks like there's 18 of you in there. Tap some hearts. Let me know if you want to hear some more.
It's now because obviously I ain't no ball. It's keep it quiet. It's fucking smoked out. It's a reason fast and it's the
All right. All right. All right. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it.
it's just like my kids like this. Yo, I think I'm special. So you please keep coming.
Some things you don't heal from, you just learn to carry them. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means honoring the scars and still choosing to move forward. There are nights I lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how I made it through. Not just the overdoses, not just the violence, not just the grief of watching the only two people who ever really raised me take their last breath. I mean, all of it. The silence, the shame, the years I spent pretending I was fine when I was drowning inside. Nobody teaches you how to live after you survive. I don't know. Until people stop watching, I guess. Didn't really have a time limit on it. What they don't tell you is this: the hard part isn't making it through the storm, it's what comes after. It's waking up and not recognizing the man in the mirror. It's trying to rebuild from rubble you created. It's the deafening quiet after the chaos, when you're finally safe, but you've forgotten how to rest. This isn't for sympathy. This is for the ones who still carry it. You're not broken just because you're tired. You're not weak just because you still cry. You're not a failure because healing hasn't erased all of the pain. Some things you don't heal from. You just learn to carry them better. Like a scar that tells a story without saying a word. Like a wound that closed but changed you forever. I still cry sometimes. I cry for my grandparents, the only people who never gave up on me. I cry for that little boy whose suitcase said going to grandma's and who never went home. I cried for the version of me that didn't make it out alive, the one who gave up everything to survive, but never got to live. And sometimes I cry for no reason at all, because grief doesn't check the calendar, because healing shows up uninvited, because even now, even today, I'm still learning how to live. But here's what I know for sure: love can save a man if he lets it. Showing up matters more than having the answers. God doesn't always shout, sometimes he whispers. And the strongest people aren't fearless, they just refuse to give up. If you're still here after everything, then you were the miracle that you've been waiting for. This is not a comeback story. This is a keep going anyway story. A get up even when you're exhausted story. A try again after every breakdown story. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just keep going. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it still hurts while you heal. Your story isn't over. You're not late. You're not lost. You're right on time because your story isn't over. It's just finally getting good with love and fire. Mark. Loud guy. Didn't you read? You didn't hear my the episode of Don't Be an Asshole? Don't be an asshole.
What's loud, guy? I don't think I heard that.
No, a comment. It said bye loud guy. Because I'm being loud.
Oh,
My
your friend?
Fin boy,
Yeah, we know you.
Fin boy trainee from Thailand.
Yeah, we know your friend.
That's my dog, man.
I know it.
Yeah, but don't be an asshole.
I'm not gonna be an asshole.
Not you. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the
I
camera.
could be an asshole though.
Ain't nobody talking to you. I'm talking to
I won't know.
Lisa. You know who the fuck I'm talking to.
Mm.
All right. So let's see. I think I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna call it for tonight. And we can pick up tomorrow with another live. I burned and I like the heat. They say you didn't die, like that's the good news. Like walking out of jail means you came out clean. But what they don't see is sometimes staying alive costs more than dying ever could. I didn't flatline, but I did die slowly in pieces in ways you can't point at but feel every damn day. I died when I heard my name on the news with words like fraud and theft. When I watched people who once shook my hand look away. When I saw my ex-wife's pain turn to fire. When I stood in the flames because I knew I caused it. Because I had to tell my own family, I'm not who I thought I was. The kind of death doesn't end with a funeral. It ends when you decide to build again. Bare hands, no blueprint. It ends when you stop defending the man you used to be and start becoming the one you were always meant to be. So no, I didn't die, but I burned. And I stayed in the fire long enough to sweat out everything that wasn't real. And what's left, call it what you want, but I call it mine. All right, guys. I'm going to end it right there. I want to thank each and every one of y'all again coming out tonight and hanging out with me. I plan on doing a whole lot more of these. I'm going to be coming up with a schedule. There's a lot of big things on the way, actually. I've got a podcast going to be starting, coming up probably in the next 2 weeks. I've got a YouTube channel, about to drop a video, possible documentary, books in the works of being published, the whole nine. So I'm going to meet everybody that's down with me from day one. Yeah. You guys mean the world, really. I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all soon. Take it easy. Peace.